Hi guys. So I'm going to tell you a horrifying little story of something that happened to me last night. It's hilarious. It is now. It wasn't funny then. Let me start. Alright, so last night I'm going about my regular routine and I am going to clean my nose piercing because it is only a week old. I got it done a week ago. And so I was going to clean it like normal. And so how I clean it is I have the sea salt water solution, and what I do is I take a cotton ball and I submerge it in that water and I dab it on my face, on my nose piercing area. And since it's about a week old, it wasn't as sore yesterday, I guess. And so I guess I'm getting a little rough and I'm just like really dabbing and scrubbing around there. I want to make sure that I don't get an infection or anything, making sure it's all clean. And so since it wasn't as sensitive, I was going a little bit more extreme or something. And the cotton ball caught on to the tip or this top jeweled part of my ring and pulled it like halfway out. And so it's kind of just sticking there out. And so I don't know what way the corkscrew inside is facing at this point. So I grab it and I guess I twist it a little bit because I thought maybe I was twisting it back in, but it came all the way out. I started to panic a little bit, but then I tried to put it back in. And the corkscrew inside, if you know what it is, it's straight and then it's got this hook. It's like a hook that goes sideways just so that it stays in there. So I couldn't get it in there and then hook it over because it was so sensitive on the inside. The surface wasn't so bad, but the inside really hurt. So I kept doing that. I kept trying to push it in and then twirl it into like the C shape because that's how you're supposed to get it back in. And it wasn't working. It was just hurting so bad. I did not have the strength anyways, I didn't have it in me to cause myself that much pain and just like push it back in. And I was trying to feel from the inside, like I was picking in my nose. I was trying to feel if I could feel the tip of it going inside, but I couldn't feel it. So I didn't want to start twisting it until I knew it was inside my nose. And it just wouldn't go through. At one point, I decided to get an earring just to make sure that it wasn't closing. Like it wasn't like closing on the inside. And I stick this earring through and it goes through. There's like a little resistance on the inside, but I managed to figure it out and I knew my piercing, it was still open. So man, it's like hours that I'm trying to get this thing back in and it's so sore. It hurts so bad and I'm so frustrated. And my husband is so over it. He's rolling his eyes. He's so annoyed with me. But yeah, I decided to look up some tutorials on YouTube and see if anyone else had this experience and how they got it back in. So I'm looking at these tutorials and none of them are from a fresh piercing. They're all basically healed already. And so none of them suggested anything for how to do it when it's so sore and so fresh. And so I didn't really know what to do. So I messaged my piercer and she wasn't getting back to me. And I couldn't just go back in because it was late and my piercer's an hour away. So I couldn't just go back in. So I'm getting really frustrated and it's hurting. And I have some numbing cream, so I put numbing cream on there for a while, but I didn't want to leave it for an hour for the numbing cream to kick in and have that chance of it starting to close in. So I put some numbing cream on, but I kept trying to go about it and it wasn't working. It was just causing me more pain. My nose was so swollen on this side already and it was red and it was burning. So it was like 10:30 to 11. I decided to go to my sister's house, and she was going to help me put it back in because she has one too. So I get there and we can't figure it out. My nose hurts so bad that every time she barely like touched it with the ring, I was just like, ah. And so, yeah, I barely let her touch it, but I managed to use one of her little nose hoops and get it in there. But the thing about this nose hoop was that it's for healed noses already, and it was super thin. Like, the gauge was like nothing. It was super thin. And that's not the right thing for your nose to heal with. So, and it was cheap. It wasn't like this surgical steel. So I didn't want to have a reaction to it, and I didn't want it to get infected. So that's ultimately not what I wanted. But I left it in until I got home, and then I had an idea to use an earring hoop because they're a little bit thicker. So I find a very small earring hoop, and I managed to get it in there. It hurt, but I convinced myself to do it, and I was able to do it. And so I squished it in there so that it wasn't going anywhere, and so it wouldn't fall out during the night, and so that it wouldn't rotate and have the thinner piece in there, because then that was useless. No point in changing it. So at this point, my husband's already sleeping, so I kind of sneak in and I like douse it in the sea salt water solution because I do not want an infection. I want to make sure it's as clean as possible. And I figured by morning the swelling would have gone down and it wouldn't hurt so bad, and I could just put it back in. If I just left it alone, it would be good. I couldn't go to sleep for the longest time because my nose was just like throbbing and burning. I guess it felt like I had just got the piercing, so it hurt. But I fell asleep eventually, and then I woke up in the morning right after my husband goes to work, and I decide that I'm going to try to put it in again. So I go to the bathroom, I take my piercing, and I take this hoop out, which it felt like it was like stuck. TMI, guys, it had got like crusties on it, and I had to like really soak it to actually get it out. It hurt so bad. Anyways, I got that out, and since my nose feels a little better in the morning, I attempt to put this corkscrew nose ring back in, and the inside of my nose was still so sore, so sensitive, that it felt the same as in the evening. So I'm trying it more, and I'm getting so frustrated, and I just can't get it. And I'm trying all sorts of ways, rotating all sorts of ways. And one annoying thing is that my husband wanted it on my left side. I don't know why. He just really wanted my nose ring on my left side. And that really sucked because I'm not left-handed, so I had to try and use my right hand and go the other way, and looking in the mirror, it just was not working. It was making everything all confusing. I couldn't line it up properly. It took forever. Anyways, going on. It wasn't working, but then I had this really stupid idea. I would not recommend this to anyone. Just go back to your piercer and get it fixed. What I do out of desperation, pure desperation, is with my jewelry pliers, I take this hoop I had in my nose and I straighten it like flat, so it turns into like a metal bar. And then what I did was I took the end of my corkscrew nose ring and I super glued it onto this bar. I guess the bar for like my hoop earring was hollow, so I was able to put it just in so that it was like kind of like going in together, but this was still a little bit too big. But I was able to super glue them together. And then here's the stupid thing. I stick the end of that bar into my nose and I pull it down. And now with this corkscrew piece stuck onto it, I was able to pull the end of the corkscrew in, and while I'm wiggling it, it hurt like a mother. Anyways, I'm wiggling it and the corkscrew end, it's able to get in there, but I'm not getting my hopes up. But like I'm wiggling it and it's going farther. And so while I'm wiggling this side and pulling the bar and wiggling the bar, I managed to get it in. And I tell you, I have never been so happy to have a nose ring in my face as I was in that moment. I was terrified. I truly thought I was going to have to let my nose grow in because I was so sick of it. I was just done. And yeah, I didn't want to have any more of that. My pain tolerance is super low, so I will not do that again, I tell you. It hurts so bad. But I managed to get it back in, and I almost decided to put a Band-Aid over my face just so that it was not going anywhere ever. But I'm just going to have to be super careful because I do not want that thing coming out again. But now I guess all I need to do is worry about an infection. It was super, super unsanitary the way I did it. Of course, the super glue. But I'm gonna have to wash it and really clean it with the saltwater solution a lot and just watch it. I guess there is still a little bit of super glue on the end of it. So that's not ideal, but it's back in my face. So I'm going to wash it a lot, and hope that I do not get an infection. Fortunately, I think my nose is swelling. I feel like there's still a little bit of swelling. It's gonna take a little while to go down, but my nose ring is back in my nose. I do not recommend you to put this in your nose the way I did if all of a sudden this same thing happens to you. Go back to your piercer. Just go back to your piercer and save yourself the hassle, the pain, and the effort. It was horrific and it really sucked, but it's kind of funny looking back at it now how desperate I was that I'd stick a bar through my nose and super glue my nose ring to it. Yeah, I was very desperate, but it's back in my face and that is what I wanted. So that was my experience. I hope you do not have the same experience because it sucked. So there was. Bye.